Discord's New Business. Customer 3, Spike. Written by Jonathan Knight Mysterio Spires and read
by John
Nathan. Howdy, Bill!
Yeah, sorry.
Spike said.
I've planned this out for too long.
Discord nodded.
Fair enough,
He said.
Unicorn it is, then.
Spike nodded.
An adult unicorn, thank you very much.
He said, putting a bag of bits on the table. Discord frowned.
I told you that you and the others were getting a freebie.
He said. Spike nodded again.
Yeah, I'm paying for a full week.
He said.
And this just became interesting again.
Discord said, smirking.
Planning on the mysterious stranger routine?
Spike nodded.
I'm gonna romance Rarity for sure.
He said, confidently.
Even though it won't be you technically doing the romancing.
Discord said.
We're working up to it.
Spike said, frustrated.
I just want to see if I can do it.
Discord rubbed his temples.
Look, kid, you really sure you want to do it this way?
Spike nodded.
Yep, a week's worth of romance with the mare I love, totally worth it.
He said.
If she's worth it, she'll love you for you.
Discord said, frowning. Spike frowned.
Why wouldn't she be worth it? She's the most beautiful, most wonderful mare, most wonderful person in Equestria. Spike!
Discord said.
I know this seems out of character for me, but I've grown fond of you, kiddo, and I think you're...
Spike scowled.
Discord, come on, what could you possibly know about love? More than you think, kiddo.
Discord said.
It's why Princess Stereotypical Hearts and Hooves Day colors up in the Crystal Empire is more willing to put up with me than most other ponies. She understands. Because love, my little dragon, is nothing more than one of the purest forms of chaos.
Spike fidgeted uncomfortably.
I've made up my mind.
Spike said.
I already got a lecture like this from Twilight, but I want to do it.
Discord rolled his eyes.
Fine!
He said.
1 week. Don't come crying to me when it backfires.
He snapped his fingers and Spike vanished in a puff. When he reappeared an instant later, he had become a tall, handsome purple unicorn with a green mane and tail. His cutie mark was that of a stroll surrounded by green flame.
Nice.
Spike said, chuckling in surprise at his deeper voice.
Hey, wow, that's weird. Hey, how do I look?
Discord, more than a little disappointed, conjured up a mirror. Spike grinned happily.
This is great. Thanks, Discord. Sure, fine.
The Draconicus said. Spike ran off to put his scheme into motion. He went over to a pair of saddlebags he had hidden, putting them on and taking a deep breath. He looked into the mirror he had set up, using his magic to pick it up, silently grateful that his transformation came with an instant knowledge of basic abilities.
Okay,
he said to the mirror as he rehearsed his lines.
My name is Quick Scroll. I'm a delivery pony from Canterlot. I've been thinking about moving to Ponyville, though. That's great!
Said a voice from behind Spike. He yelped, turning around, spotting Pinkie Pie standing there, grinning happily.
Hi, I'm Pinkie Pie,
she said.
Welcome to Ponyville. I'm glad to meet you. We've been getting a lot of new ponies lately, and it's always great to meet new ponies, because new ponies always means new friends to make. And it's my job as official greeter pony of Ponyville to make sure you're properly welcome to Ponyville with a patented Pinkie Pie pony party. No, that won't be necessary.
Spike stammered, trying to maintain his cover as he looked around.
I can't afford to pay for one, so
Pinkie Pie said, giggling happily.
It's okay. I do this for every new friend. That makes it sound like a drug deal.
Spike muttered.
Well, if you do this for every pony, doesn't it get expensive? Especially since you say you do this a lot? Nah, I invest well, so I'm pretty much rich, so I can afford it.
Pinkie Pie said.
Well, that answers some questions.
Spike muttered.
And raises so many more. I just love making new friends, and I figure what better way to make a new friend than by throwing them a party. After all, nothing says friendship like a celebration of the fact that you're there.
Pinkie Pie said. Spike sighed.
Look, Pinkie Pie, that's not necessary. I really don't want to party.
He said. Pinkie Pie frowned.
Aw, but why?
She said.
Is it because you've heard of me and you know what kind of party I usually throw? I can do something more mature. I don't like them, but I can do them. Pinkie, that's not...
Spike started.
Do you have a phobia of parties? Because I can recommend a great therapist. She said she's given up on figuring me out, but Pinkie...
Spike said.
Party isn't necessary because you've already given me one. Really?
Pinkie said, confused.
I don't remember seeing you before.
Spike sighed.
Pinky, it's me, Spike.
He said.
I used my freebie from Discord.
Pinky blinked and then grinned.
Oh, okay, that makes sense now. I even kind of recognize you now. What with the fact that you have a similar coloring and the scroll with green flame as a cutie mark, and you sound like Spike when he's doing an older voice.
Spike magically clamped Pinkie Pie's mouth shut, looking around worriedly.
Just be quiet for a second, okay? I need you to pinky promise me that you won't let any pony know it's me, okay?
Her mouth still clapped. Pinkie Pie nodded. She asked. Spike looked over to where Rarity was haggling with a vendor. He sighed dreamily.
I'm going to date Rarity. Give her a handsome stallion to be with.
He said. Pinkie Pie frowned.
But do you want to date Rarity?
She asked.
Just stop, okay?
Spike said, getting frustrated.
I've gotten this twice already. Just promise me you won't interfere.
Pinkie Pie shrugged, nodding as Spike let her mouth go.
Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye.
She said.
I swear I'll not interfere with this cockamamie scheme of yours.
Spike side and restoration.
That'll do, I suppose.
He said.
Now, shoo, I need to do this.
Pinkie Pie nodded, skipping off. Spike shook his head at her and turned back to Rarity, sighing wistfully. He checked his saddlebags and went off to enact his plan. Rarity, for her part, was just going about her day, gathering supplies for her shop. She had been giving Discord's offer a lot of thought. Fluttershy and Applejack had certainly enjoyed their transformations, and to top it all off, Applejack had declared that she was thinking about seeing Iron Will more in the future.
Such possibilities.
Without paying attention to where she was going, she didn't see the stallion until the two had crashed into each other, Rarity's saddlebags spilling out on the cobblestone.
How dash it all.
She said, moving to pick up the spilled threads. Before she could, however, a bright green field picked them up for her.
I'm terribly sorry,
said a voice.
I really should have been watching where I was going.
Rarity smiled.
It's all right,
she said.
At least you're a gentle colt enough to admit your mistake. And truth be told, I wasn't watching where I was going either.
After gathering up her fallen items, she turned towards the stallion and blushed.
Oh my.
He was a tall sort with a bright green mane and striking purple coat.
I'm sorry, my name is Quick Scroll. I'm a delivery pony from Canterlot, here on vacation. Been thinking about moving here. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
He said easily. He blushed and added,
And if every pony else here is as good looking as you, I may have even more reason to visit.
Rarity giggled and noticed the cutie mark. Her face faltered a little, disappointment crossing her face briefly, but she hid it quickly, giving the stallion a flirtatious smile.
Flattery will only get you so far with me, Mr. Quick Scroll. My name is Rarity, by the way.
Spike smiled.
Well, if you're willing, Miss Rarity, I'd be more than willing to treat you to dinner to make up for running into you.
He said, giving her a suave smile.
Oh, well.
Rarity thought.
Oh, how kind.
She said.
But I think we can dispense with that, shall we? Why don't you come to my place, and we can get to know each other better?
Spike gulped.
Oh?
He asked. Rarity flicked her tail at him.
Indeed.
She said.
I think we can make this a bit more intimate a meeting.
What's going on?
Spike thought. Another part of his brain was telling him to shut up.
Rarity's never been this forward before.
His logical brain thought. Then the male libido part of his brain suplexed his logical part into a box and locked it shut. The two of them went into Carousel Boutique. Rarity motioned for Spike to sit while she made tea for them both.
This is going better than I thought.
Spike said to himself, looking around the shop and pretending it was all new to him.
So, you're a dressmaker?
Indeed.
Rarity said.
Have you heard of the Canterlot Carousel?
Oh, yeah.
Spike said.
My sister bought a dress from there one time, and wait, are you that Rarity?
He grinned.
This is quite an honor then. My sister looked fantastic in your dress.
Rarity came out smiling.
It's always nice to be heard my work is appreciated. Quick Scroll.
She said.
1 lump or 2?
3.
Spike said.
I have a bit of a sweet tooth.
Rarity giggled.
Well,
Fair enough.
She said, putting the cubes in.
Now, where were we?
well,
Spike said after sipping his tea.
Oh, I remember now.
Rarity said, taking Spike's tea away from him.
I was about to show you a night of a lifetime.
Spike said. Before he could react, Rarity pounced on him. Rarity was purring, grinning at the blushing, flustered stallion. Spike! Half of him wanted this, but he knew this wasn't right.
Miss Rarity, please.
He said.
Please what, darling?
Rarity said pleasantly.
This isn't like you.
Spike said, sweating fearfully.
Oh, and how would you know?
Rarity said, leaning in for a kiss, and then suddenly pulling away, moving across the room.
No, I can't.
Spike just lay there stunned. He shook his head to clear it.
Miss Rarity?
He asked, confused. In full melodrama mode, Rarity said,
As attracted as I am to you, darling, I simply cannot act on my feelings, for you see,
She took a deep breath.
I have promised my heart to another.
Spike's eyes widened.
Oh.
He said, not daring to hope. Rarity nodded.
Yes, he's really a sweet young stallion, kind, gentle, noble, and a prince without actually being royal blood, although he was a lord for a few minutes.
Spike was battling not to grin.
He sounds like a good one.
Good one. He said.
Oh, he is. So handsome, too. It's just...
She frowned, dropping the melodrama.
There has been some problems between us recently.
What? What did I do? I have to find out so I can correct it. Oh, what's happened?
Spike just barely managing to force himself to be calm. Rarity turned directly towards Spike.
Well, for one thing, he thinks so little of my feelings that he decided to try dating me in another body, pretending to be a delivery pony named Quick Scroll.
Spike's heart sank. He stammered, ears going flat against his head.
Rarity, I don't...
He sighed, head drooping.
I was that obvious, huh?
Same coloring, cutie mark, a direct reference to your scroll-sending flame, and your voice is far too similar to your natural one.
Rarity said softly.
I admit I was taken aback at first by how handsome you are in this form,
Okay.
but I recognized you quickly enough.
Spike sighed wearily.
Dang it, I thought I was being so clever.
Spike,
Rarity said.
why did you think pretending to be someone else to date me for a day would be a good idea?
Spike said.
I'm so tired of being treated like a baby just because of how I look. I know I'm young, but I'm not that young.
Rarity sighed.
I suppose that's my fault. But consider how I'd feel. If I'd fallen for your disguise, I would have fallen in love with Quickscroll, not you. After the day was up, I would have been left pining for him instead of you.
Spike fidgeted.
Oh, I paid for 6 extra days.
Rarity sighed.
Oh, Spike.
She said.
Do you really think so little of me and my feelings for you?
Spike grimaced.
No, it's not that.
He shook his head.
I love you, Rarity. You are more beautiful than any treasure, any gold, any flower in the world. When I hear your voice, it's like having a self singing. And the way you act, always so graceful and full of poise. Every motion is perfect, and you're so caring and loving, even if it means messing up your mane a little, you'll do what it takes to help a friend, to help someone in need. Spike was almost crying now. I don't want anyone else but you, Rarity, and I never will. You're so wonderful. Who in the world can compare?
Rarity was stunned, blushing a little. She knew how Spike felt about her, but she had assumed for so long that it was puppy love. And while she was a little offended that he hadn't come to her as himself, the fact that he felt so strongly about her...
Spike,
Spike's head drooped again.
I didn't want you to find out how I felt about you this way.
Rarity giggled. Spike frowned.
What's so funny?
Spike,
Rarity said.
the way you feel about me is the worst kept secret in Ponyville.
Spike groaned, covering his head with his hooves.
Well, this day went to Tartarus fast.
He muttered. Rarity sighed and smiled.
Spike, I'm sorry for not realizing how serious your feelings were.
She said.
I will try to be more respectful of them in the future.
Thank you.
He said.
I know there's a whole species difference between us.
Rarity shook her head.
That's never been the issue, my precious Scales.
She said, sitting next to him. Spike nodded.
The aging difference then. Twilight's brought it up a few times, but I age at a slower rate than ponies.
Rarity chuckled wearily.
By the time you'd look old enough that there wouldn't be any trouble, I'd be old and decrepit. Certainly no treasure.
Spike smiled at her.
Even if you were as old and wrinkly as Granny Smith, I'd still think you were beautiful.
Rarity gasped. touched.
Spike,
She blushed brightly and realized, to her shock, that she cared just as deeply about the transformed dragon.
Oh, drat it all. This isn't fair.
She closed her eyes. Spike looked up. Rarity? Rarity shook her head firmly.
No, I refuse to give up. You are my everything I could ask for in a stallion, and for some reason that escapes me, you think I'm just as wonderful. We live in a world that has magic that can transform the very foundations of the planet. I refuse to believe there's no way we can reasonably be together.
Spike grinned widely.
Yeah, we can figure this out.
Rarity smiled at Spike, kissing him for real this time.
And when do we come together, my precious scales? It will be as each other.
Meanwhile, in our universe,
What you listening to?
Pinky asked. Discord grinned.
Nothing in particular. Just two lovers finally getting it. What do you need, Pinkie Pie? Well,
Pinkie Pie said.
seeing Spike do his change got me thinking, and I think I know what I want for my freebie.
Discord rubbed his hands together excitedly.
I've been waiting for this.
He said.
What'll it be, Miss Pie?
Pinkie Pie smiled and told him. To be continued. Next time, Pinkie Pie transformed
was a mountain.
Ah,
Wait, just an Ursa Major. He can do that, right?
yeah.
Wouldn't an Ursa Major beat him, though? Like, very likely?
No.
Are you
An
certain?
Ursa Major.
An Ursa Major's the size of a mountain!
So? He's like nigh omnipotent, or at least he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and they've got super magic. I assume this is star magic, because they're this literally this...
Pinkie Pie shrugged, nodding as Spike let her mouth go.
Cross my heart and hope to die, fly in my eye.
Oh no!
Okay.
Fly a Kaspapik in my eye.
Wait, where does this say hope to fly? Oh,
Cross my
she
heart,
doesn't-
hope to die, fly a Kaspapik in my eye.
I forgot she doesn't actually say die.
Okay. Cross my heart and hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye.
I want to stick with cross my heart, hope to die, fly a Kaspapik in my eye.
It's in the middle of her thing. I got my heart, hope to die, or hope to die. There's a freaking flyby!
I'm terribly sorry.
Said a voice.
Dinner!
I really should have been watching where I was going.
it's getting hot and steamy in here.